Welcome to What's That Pen, helping you choose your next perfect pen. And today's pen was requested by Akshata, who requested the Camlin brush pen. Now this is a pen from India, and I'm very excited because I did not know about this pen, and it is easily available over on this side of the ocean. It was only $17 for the 24 pack, making it about 70 cents per pen, which is definitely manageable. Now it comes in a 6 pack, a 12 pack, or a 24 pack, depending on how many colors you want. But I figured for $17, why not get all 24 of them? They are a water-based pen, which means that you can blend them, and even right here on the packaging, they tell you to do a watercolor effect with the ease of a brush tip pen. I really like that the packaging shows very clearly that it is a flexible tip, but this makes me question exactly what the tip looks like. So let's dive in, open this pack up, and see what these Camlin pens are like. Well, the first thing that I notice about the Camlin pens is that they come actually wrapped in the set as well, which means that during shipping they won't shift around. However, even in here they are clipped in, and each pen has its own little area. This is really nice for storage as well, because you'll be able to lay them flat, and like I said, each pen has its own space, so this could easily be put into a drawer or even stacked away with the pens in their own spacers. So let's pull these pens out. There's quite a range of colors. It looks like we have a few neon colors. Even these two often are considered neon by pen companies. There are not very many greens in this set, but there's quite a range of these warm color values, and then a nice dark gray, 3 different grays, and a black. These are a brush nib pen, and they are made out of a felt material. They're not a nylon material. And of course, we know that felt tips do have wear and tear on them. We expect that from our pens, so remember to use the correct paper, which is a smooth pressed paper, which is different than something that feels smooth. It's actually paper that's been put through the paper squisher twice instead of just once to smooth out all of those paper fibers as much as possible. Let's try this pen out with our upstrokes and downstrokes. And this pen, I would say, has wide downstrokes that are comparable in size to the Tombow dual brush marker. So maybe this could be something that you are looking at as an alternative to the Tombow dual brush markers, especially if you want something that is going to have really, really thick downstrokes. Let's look just at the downstrokes. We have a very thick downstroke. It is definitely on scale with the Tombow dual brush marker, and a thin upstroke. Now, doing the thin upstroke, while I did have good control, I couldn't feel anything on the pen. So that will be hard if you are heavy-handed, because you won't have that resistance that you might still expect off of the tip of the brush pen. For Nib Rebound, because it has the potential to ruin the pen, let's choose this one that is the color of something I used to see in my children's diapers. Hopefully it won't look like that on the paper, but full pressure. Oh, that's a nice amber color actually. Full pressure all the way across, and we look at the pen and wow. From the way that it felt, I expected it to be completely curved, but it looks exactly like it did when I started doing those nib rebound lines. So it has above average nib rebound. One other thing that I'm noticing about all of these colors as I do them is that they have ink coverage that reminds me of an alcohol-based pen, which means that the coverage is incredibly saturated, but it's also drying quite quickly. It does seem like there's a fair amount of water being put down on the page because there's a bit of bubbling. I haven't looked at that with any of the other pens, so it's not fair for me really to comment on that too much here, because this is the first time that I've rubbed my hand like this across the paper when I have done the nib rebound test. That slight warp, though, is something that happens anytime you use a water-based marker, because it's adding water to the paper fibers and therefore it's making them expand. They're not quite as connected as they used to be. So that's why sometimes if you're trying to do watercolor on regular paper, you will end up with warped paper. And while you can feel it, you can't see it. So don't hold that against these pens. The writing size for these, because of that incredibly thick line, is going to be large. Like I said, these are comparable to the Tombow dual brush markers in their size. And so you would want to use these on larger pieces that you're going to be working on, or even if you're going to be doing a poster, these would be a good choice for you. Let's take a look at the juiciness by coloring in the cup and then smearing. And there is a little bit of smear that happened there. I also have smear happening on my finger. If we do the 3-second color, 1, 2, 3, and then smear, there is no smear that happens. So these are about a regular juiciness. They have super concentrated color, and if you smear them right away, you will get a little bit of a smear, but if you wait a few seconds, you're okay. But I would say that if you are a lefty, you're going to want to use a piece of paper as you go to make sure that you're not smearing. Or if you're going back over an area, put a piece of paper down so that it's protecting your hand and your hand is not coming into contact with the page, which will also protect the ink that's already down on the page. Ease of transition. I'm nervous about this one because of how I could not feel those thin upstrokes. So let's see what this one goes like. We've got a thin upstroke, a thick downstroke, and this is a very unique color. Wow. Thin upstroke, thick downstroke. This makes me want raspberries. And this one on the upstroke was more difficult. I would say that these pens are a little bit tricky on the upstroke. I'm going to use them a little bit more though before I fully make that decision. But the ease of transition, I would say on a scale of yay, okay, nay, or stay away, are probably on the okay side. I do notice that there's a little bit of a lift happening here and a little bit of a rough transition on the inside. So there, I'm changing that in between nay and okay. They would take control, but I would say that this is something that is very common with many large scale brush pens. I do also notice, in all fairness, that up here, those transitions were a little bit easier, though not completely perfect. And let's blame that on the pen. No, that's also because I was going quickly, but I would say that these are not the easiest transitions in the world to do. So make sure that you're doing your lettering very slowly, and also scaling it up will make those transitions easier for you as well. Pros for this pen series are that 70 cents per pen. These are ones that I would even allow my kids to get after I get to use them a whole bunch. But they are obsessed with brush pens, of course. They see me using them, they see you using them, and they want to use them too. So these would be a great set even for kids to be able to use. If they're water soluble, that means that you can hopefully wash them easily off of their hands and anywhere else that they might get. But the colors in this set are unique. This deep, rich red is gorgeous. This amber color, I mean, I did not have high hopes, but it's actually a gorgeous color. And look at the color coverage. Most water-based pens, you can see quite a few streaks, but this got such solid coverage that you can't even see those streaks in there. There are also very unique colors, like this berry purple color down here. It's not one that I have seen very often, and that really intrigues me about this set. It makes me want to use every single one of these colors in a piece. Another pro is that they would be good for doing your large scale lettering. However, that also ends up being a bit of a con as well, because these would primarily be for large scale lettering. You wouldn't want to use them on anything that would just be the size of a regular piece of paper. You would want to use them on something larger, something more grand. The ease of transition is difficult, but on something large, you would be able to have a little bit more control. I also found it a little strange that I couldn't feel any pressure on the page when I was doing the thin lines. It makes it hard to know how much to push, or even if the color is going on the page at all. I like to still have some sort of sensory input for even those thin lines. And especially if you have a heavy hand, you probably do rely on that. With a heavy hand, I think that it would be really quite hard to get those thin upstrokes. Overall, I would say that the unique colors in this set, and also the fact that it's 70 cents a pen, would make this something that I would most likely add to my Amazon cart, especially if you're looking at the Tombow brush pens. These would be a low-cost alternative that you could try first if you don't want to commit right away to the pens that are over $3 per pen. Thank you so much, Akshata, for suggesting these pens. I love that I was introduced to new pens, and hopefully you've been introduced to a new pen as well. They are readily available over here on this side of the ocean, so don't think that just because these are an Indian-based pen means that you can't have access to them as well. If you have a pen that you want me to review, comment on it down below and I will make sure that I pop out and grab it so that we can do that review together. I want to make sure that you find the perfect pen for you. Make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss a single one of these reviews. Otherwise, if you weren't interested necessarily in these pens and you hadn't subscribed, you wouldn't have seen what a great deal they are and all of their unique colors. Of course, this is completely unbiased. I used my own money to purchase these pens, and I am telling you the honest truth about them. I want to be able to do that for you too, so if you have a pen you're wondering about, just let me know and we can find the perfect pen for you.